Ladies and gents, welcome back. It would seem that depending on what side of the US-Canada border you lie on, not science, but the science is slightly different. It would seem that facts and logic are a bit different depending on your culture or nationality. We have here from Global News, travelers entering Canada still required to wear masks 14 days after arrival. Whether you've toured the globe or stopped in the United States to fill up the gas tank, when you return to Canada, you must wear a face mask in public for 14 days. The federal border requirement, however, is now out of step with the rules in BC. I'm in British Columbia myself, and most every other province, where masking is no longer legally required in public indoor spaces. Anyone entering Canada must also keep track of all close contacts for 2 weeks and closely self-monitor for COVID-19 symptoms, according to Ottawa's rules. So if you happen to live in a border town and you just really want to go to a restaurant that you know just on the other side of the border for for a half an hour for a quick lunch, yeah, you're gonna be masking up for the next 2 weeks, apparently, according to the government of Canada. Dr. Beringer Narang, a family physician in BC, said it's important to monitor for symptoms of the virus. Tracking one's close contacts for 2 weeks, however, covers an incubation period that is much longer than any variant has been in recent months, he explained. I think the onus right now is on the federal government. If they say, hey, we need to have these restrictions, there needs to be some transparency around. Good luck with that. Sorry, but transparency is not really the federal government's forte here in Canada. There needs to be evidence why this continues to work, Narang said in an interview. I don't think that evidence exists, in which case it should be a recommendation. And of course, recommendations are not legally required by law. Let that one sink in. Anyhow, the information travelers must follow on the federal government website is not part of the email all travelers receive a few days after arriving in Canada. The requirement for those arriving in Canada to wear a mask for 14 days also does not differentiate between indoor and outdoor spaces. So just even in bed, if you're laying in bed, if you're using the toilet, anything you're doing, you get that mask on. If you've been you stepped over that border, even if you were swimming and maybe went over that border accidentally. Narang, who just returned to Canada from abroad, said the federal government should focus on giving people information on how they can protect themselves rather than upholding antiquated measures. Going, the next 14 days does not make a lot of sense. I have just as much likelihood of getting exposed at work in this next week or anywhere else domestically in a grocery store, despite whether I wear a mask, he told Global News. When you look at federal mandates, we need to make sure we haven't lost the plot. Well, we lost the plot ages ago, my friend. I think the plot's out the window. Oh, goodness. Fully vaccinated travelers coming into Canada no longer need to provide proof of negative COVID-19 test. Anyone entering the country, however, must still fill out travel information on the Arrive Can app, including detailed quarantine plan. I always find that this one is quite interesting. So Narang said that data collected by the Arrive Can app may be useful in planning future pandemics. But why an app? Why is it required that you have to download a piece of software and install it onto your phone when you could just go to a government website with your phone on a browser and fill out the questionnaire? Why is it that they require that you download an application and put it on your phone? That's really interesting. I know myself, if I have to travel outside the country, I've got a few just old phones that are ineffectual for usage. I just haven't thrown away. I think I might boot them up just to put that app on so I can power them down and not have them on my general device that I use on a daily basis. I don't trust when apps in particular. It's just there's a reason why there's protections in software and why certain apps aren't allowed on certain websites. There's malicious stuff that can be put inside apps. And well, we all know what the Canadian government is capable of. Anyhow, moving on. So this I thought was really interesting compared to a recent decision in the United States. Just across the border, judge declares federal public transportation mask mandate unlawful. It's unbelievable. The science is different depending on where you're from. A federal judge threw out the federal government mask mandate for airports, airplanes, and other public transportation Monday, ruling the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention exceeded its authority by imposing a mask requirement days after the agency extended it another 2 weeks. U.S. District Judge Catherine Kimball Mizell, who was appointed by former President Donald Trump, I don't know why that's important, but issued a ruling, declared the mask mandate unlawful, and blocked it by vacating the order and sending it back to the CDC for further proceedings. The Anti-Mandate Health Freedom Defense Fund, that's a mouthful, has sued the CDC and federal officials in July over the mask requirement, asking the court to declare the order unlawful and set it aside under the Administrative Procedure Act. Mizell ruled the CDC did not have authority to impose the mask mandate under Public Health Services Act of 1944, claiming the law only sets the CDC impose measures relating to inspection, fumigation, disinfection, sanitization, pest extermination, destruction to curb disease transmission, and mask wearing doesn't fall under any of those. The CDC also erred by not having an adequate public comment period before it imposed the mandate, Mizell ruled. And said the mask mandate is arbitrary and capricious because the agency didn't sufficiently explain the reasoning behind imposing it, while the federal government had asked Mizell to just block the mandate as it applied to the plaintiffs challenging it. The judge said she had to throw it out. Throw out the entire mandate because of the difficulty of distinguishing the plaintiffs from other travelers. Almost ensures that limited remedy is not a remedy at all. The Biden administration official told Forbes the transportation mask mandate will no longer be enforced as a result of Mizell's ruling, though the federal government is still reviewing the decision and addressing potential next steps, of course, because we just love to force people to do things against their will. And even if it doesn't make any sense, unbelievably, we've known for ages, even Tony Science in the beginning said that masks don't really do much of anything. And we're actually looking now at the fact that masks are not going to do anything with a virus that spreads like it does. And with it not being that bad of an infection, it's very infectious, but not that presenting as a common cold is not really something we need to be worrying about, in my personal humble opinion. But here's the crucial quote. It is indisputable that the public has a strong interest in combating the spread of COVID-19, Mizell wrote in her opinion, quoting a past ruling in a different case, and nothing the CDC imposed is its mask mandates. In pursuit of that end, the judge wrote that the court still declares unlawful and vacates the mask mandate. Anyway, however, our system does not permit agencies to act unlawfully even in pursuit of desirable ends. So even if you got the best of intentions in mind, sorry, but you can't just impose things on people, especially if it's unlawful. So yeah, again, a clear distinction of the laws between Canada and the United States and how they are imposing things upon the citizenry of these different countries, and how the science seems to differ depending on who you talk to. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys in the next video. We'll see you then. Keep on trucking.